Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance still coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to yet another one of my live streams. And, this is still continuing on with picking up the pieces. We're going to talk a little bit about today what we do know and where we might be at in all of this, okay? What we're mainly going to be discussing today, because we've gotten enough of the information out, folks from around the world are now involved. So now that we have folks around the world involved, we have a lot of ground to cover. And we're going to kind of wait for everyone to kind of start making their way in like usual, so everyone can say hi, how you doing, Prince Magnum, how you holding up, all the usual stuff that we are familiar with in a live stream, because everybody deserves to be noticed. So, we're going to give a kind of a couple 10 minutes, and then we're going to get down to brass tacks. So we do have a lot of ground to cover, and we're going to stay live as long as necessary to get that ground covered. Okay, and including some possible business ventures for the Prince Magnum channel in preparation for Princess Fhaie to come home. So that's kind of the gist of it tonight. So bear with me. We're going to be covering a lot of ground, but this ground is of major importance. Okay. But again, I want you all to continue to share out the streams, tell everyone you know. Make sure that this stream gets noticed. What's going on, Elias? Welcome to the live stream, friend. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. Thank you so much. Yeah, I see it just popped up. Thank you. So we got a lot of ground to cover tonight. What's going on, J-Dog? What's going on, Carla? So tonight we're going to really be focusing on the fact that, with the development of everything we found out Tuesday, going into Tuesday all the way up to current date, we're going to kind of touch base on as well. So many times here on YouTube and other social media and all the other platforms out there, and Carla, I don't know if you've been able to keep up with everything. You probably watched a little bit of the playbacks and everything, and you realize how far gone Princess Fhaie is right now and what we're trying to do. Thank you so much, Elias. Thank you for that. And currently, right now, again, I'm trying to tell everyone to continue to share the streams out. Tell everyone you know, because what we're trying to do is save my wife's life. She has fallen into the world of drugs and alcohol along with mental illness. And she has now put herself back into the she went back into the waiting arms of her parents that abused her, breaking her to the point when she got here, I had a hell of a time. I had a hell of a time. And in a lot of ways, I failed her as a husband. We've talked about that the last few streams. So I would definitely go back to Tuesday and start sharing them, especially where it starts off at about 1,000 views, and that video is still going and still being shared out. And I continue to urge everyone to continue to share it out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everyone continue to share the streams out, especially the playbacks, because initially, what I initially thought was, okay, I failed, I fucked up, and then come to find out that by Tuesday, I started finding things out. So we're basically dealing with mental illness along with chemical dependency with someone who's very likely to hurt themselves, not necessarily to the point where they're gone from this earth, but could hurt themselves pretty bad where they, in a way that could be detrimental, okay? Could seriously hurt her. And when I say she's back in the waiting arms of her sadistic parents, I did out her father finally for the sexual assault basically sexually assaulting my wife at the age of 14. And how creepy that son of a gun is. Dude, she was 14, really. So we've got a lot of ground to cover, okay? We've shouted this out. We've given names. I've even given my own name. What's going on, Raven? Right now, we're in the waiting game, so we've got a lot of ground to cover, okay? Usually I wait about... Yeah, she's back with her parents right now that are very abusive, okay? her mother, hey, what's going on? Jamie of the Isolationist Network channel. Welcome to the live stream. Jamie, I hope you've been able to keep up with a lot of the past streams. We've been dealing with a lot of ground. Yeah. My wife, again, last week, Saturday, in the middle of Save the World Fortnite stream, took off. Now, initially, I thought that, that we were solving some problems and everything, but I did not know to the degree of the problems they were. And now, by Tuesday of this week, I was finding out drug addiction and all sorts of other stuff. And since that time, we've even had to out her parents who were very abusive to her. We had to give out her name, my wife's name. We've had to give out his. So this is one of these things that I know some of you all are like, man, you're crossing into some serious ground giving out all this information. But the thing of it is that we are left in that moral ground. Do we sit back and watch and wait for the day that we hear Princess Fhaie is another OD statistic, or do we do something about it? So that's kind of where we're at right now. We had to do something about it. We had to go to the next level. And everything I have done has been within the confines of the law. And at one point yesterday, I even gave out my real name just to make sure that we get my wife home so we could get her in a treatment center, get her cleaned up, get her the mental health she needs, the mental help she needs. I have not talked to her except for a brief moment here and there, okay? She's angry now because the police have been involved. And everything, to kind of get y'all, I'll give you the briefest synapse I can. Everything of her taking off doesn't seem like it was just problems between us. She actually was seeing a therapist, but then all of a sudden, we don't have the money for it. When she has insurance, and they weren't asking for that much. And they even said that they would even pull some strings and make sure that that was paid for if it was a problem. So what ends up happening is I think the therapist, thank you so much, Jamie. What ends up happening is that in the process of all of this, I think the therapist might have been onto her drug use. Okay. Now, for those who don't know, Princess Fhaie was an admitted member of Alcoholics Anonymous. You've all heard the story about that 2-year coin, that there's been only 2 people to be able to hold it and not relapse. And in some cases, those who relapsed after touching that coin ended up dying. I am one of the 2. Okay. One of the people who actually held that coin when they made 2 years was none other than Princess Fhaie. Y'all are blown away now, aren't you? She decided she can moderate. Thank you so much, Jamie. And again, I'm going to suggest that all of you grab the ones when we started realizing that it was a lot deeper than this. Dang, dude, that's loud. The one, like one of the streams that I would definitely suggest, the one that starts at about 1,000K, it's actually above that. It's coming up on 1.1, okay? I would definitely start there and start sharing out, picking up the pieces from there, including last night's Sober Talk. Now, what do I hope by planning on, by doing this, okay? Well, number one, the police department up there knew of her situation and did nothing. They let her go, okay? Even though she's mentally unstable, that sort of thing. She can make her own decisions, sort of thing. No, she's not capable of doing that. I'm retired from the medical field and I worked in the field for 13 years. I think I know when someone can't make their own fucking decisions. Beaverton, Oregon Police Department. But they didn't want to hear reason. To them, I was some sort of sadistic, psychotic husband. And it's easy to get that nowadays, okay? And we've talked about this in previous streams where, yes, I'm irate, but for good reason. That's my wife. She is now in danger, okay? So here's our situation, okay? And let me break it down, okay? At one point, I seen a bottle of pills, and I asked her what they were. I said, I don't see a label on these. Okay, what is this medication? I knew it was a straight up medication that you could not get over the counter. Even though I haven't been behind a med cart since 2011, I know what prescription medication. She's like, well, it's something for the stomach whenever I get anxious. Okay, I'll buy that. Well, fast forward, she's acting more and more crazy, and she was basically mixing marijuana along with this prescription medication, alcohol, and she's also got serious manic depression. And I discovered that after discussing it with a professional as of recent. Okay, everything leads to the fact that she's going off the deep end. So my wife is not a bad woman. I want to reiterate that she's not a bad woman. She's just a sick woman who needs our help. By sharing this out, getting the information out, this then puts pressure on the Beaverton, Oregon Police Department. And then along with the fact that her dad has already sexually assaulted her, yes, Eric Carter of Beaverton, Oregon, I'm looking right at you. She was 14 years old, you piece of anyhow. And we've even talked about some of the details of that, getting that information out. What am I hoping from here? Well, the police department will be fully aware of the situation. They're going to start watching really close. Anything shady, anything that looks out of place, they're going to pull them over. They're going to, investigate the house, whole 9 yards. The heat's going to be on. Okay. By then, taking away the enablers, Princess Fhaie will have no choice but to give me that call and say I'm coming home. Now, what do I mean by taking away the enablers? It's going to get hot for her family over there. It's going to get too hot. And if this information starts getting back to workplaces and things like that, they're going to start saying things. Bosses are going to start saying things. Okay, Elias. So, in essence, this is what we would call a serious intervention. Now, the objective is to get Princess Fhaie in that situation where, okay, I need to do something right. I need to go home. We need to get this figured out. Okay, I'm not well, because she will come out. She will notice the problems. So then, what ends up happening from there is she will come home. All right, plain and simple. She will come home because her family's going to tell her to leave. What's going on, Danny? So once she gets home, then we can get her to a treatment center. That is the first objective. Get her to a treatment center. And currently right now, because of the fact that she may be damaged beyond repair, where she may never be able to work, and it'll be my responsibility to take care of her, which I'm perfectly okay with. We need to get both the channel and some future ventures squared away so we could do that. So we've got to get the channel squared away, which means that I've got to go back and start looking at the Patreon account. Because once we get this all lined out, we can get the Patreon account and everything and get enough money coming in, we won't have to worry about it. Okay. Okay, Bad. I haven't heard yet. And thank you, Nat, for coming in and showing the love. I appreciate it. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Again, continue to keep sharing out the streams. Tell everyone you know. Get everybody on board. We are dealing with a potentially dangerous situation to my wife. And again, thank you so much, Jamie. Appreciate that. Jamie, I got to get you in the brand new Discord. My old one is going away. So I got to get you over there. So we can kind of keep you up to speed there as well. And at some point, if you're on Facebook, or at least have Facebook Messenger, it probably would behoove me to connect with you there as well. That way, because I know you're connected to a lot of folks too, and that can also help get the information out. And really quick, this has now reached a radio DJ. If I remember correctly, he's in Blackpool, England. Okay, so this story has actually reached that far. So, as a matter of fact, a couple of nights ago when I gave out my real name, he actually reached out to me. Completely understandable. And so we're just trying to get the word out. The more and more heat that's applied, See, Princess Fhaie will not be able to do any business even with legal dispensaries because she's too high profile. No, we can't take you in here. You're too high profile. It'll look bad for business. So then we cut off the supply of drugs. Bad. I had to have a long heart to heart with myself. I know I'm doing the right thing now. Okay. We're making this as real as possible. Okay. And, I know normally a lot of folks don't really like this sort of stuff, and, this, some people eat drama here on YouTube, but this is a different story here. Okay. Remember, folks, I'm trying to save my wife's life, and my wife can help thousands of people. She already has, whether she knows it or not. So, in essence, what we're trying to create the aura of taking away making it difficult to do the drugs, and by basically creating an aura of heat. Okay, if the Oregon Police Department is, if you will, in essence, in a situation where they have a choice but to pay attention to the real situation, what's going to actually happen is, what was that? I don't know yet, Danny. I haven't heard anything. She's not talking to hardly anybody. Bad. Unfortunately, it's not the old days, the early 1900s. If it was, this would already be a different story. And there are some things I wish we would go back to. So in a situation like this, I wish I could just pick up, go say, no, you're coming home with me, sort of thing. But I can't do that nowadays. This world isn't exactly, if this would have, again, if this was, say the early 1900s, it wouldn't be that bad. So in essence, right now we're continuing to share this out, get the knowledge out. My wife Miranda is in danger. She's around a mom that wants to control her and be very abusive mentally. She's around a father that will sexually assault her. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. He was already making sexual advances at her, from as she got closer to the age of 18. Every time I talked to the son of a bitch, he always acted like he was the jealous boyfriend. Okay. So how long? Hell, for all we know, that son of a bitch could have easily slipped a fucking roofie in her drink, because he allowed her to drink beforehand, before she was of age. How do we know he didn't slip her a fucking Mickey and the next thing you know, he had his way with her? We don't know at this point. And how do we know he won't do it now? Get her messed up and everything and then do what he wants. We don't know. He's already already sexually assaulted her, or if you wanted to count it as sexual misconduct, it depends on what state you're in. So we're in a situation. This is a life and death situation, if you will. My wife's been through enough. How much more do we need? It's a matter of saving lives. So I'm even going into, other platforms, looking at ways of making money, kind of preparing for the day that she's home. I don't know when. I'm hoping she comes home in one piece, you know. I hope she comes home with where we can repair the damage. So that's kind of where we're at on this. And folks, let me give you an idea, okay? It's a prescription medication. When I described it to the professionals, they're like, it sounds like she may have been taking Adderall. Okay. Right now, bad. I know I need to do it, but I'm just not there yet. I'm having a hard time, playing Save the World. I've logged on to it twice, but right now it's really hard for me. And I may not be able to do it. Okay. I think you all can understand that. I think you can all kind of get the gist of it. She left me in the middle of the Save the World stream as I'm wrapping it up. I don't know if I'm able to do it. I'm probably going to need nuts and bolts tightened down. Absolutely. And I would love to get back to gaming with you, a lot of you guys, and I do what I can and everything, but unfortunately, I'm just having a really difficult time, you know. As a matter of fact, again, I'm looking at other platforms where I can make a little bit of money, you know, and some of them might even get a few laughs as soon as I talk about it. You know, a lot of YouTubers did it during the adpocalypse. They slipped over and started doing adult video games on Pornhub, and currently that is another option, which I'm actually waiting for the callback from them. No, no, Bad Bat. There's a whole story behind that you and I will have to talk about, kind of off on our own. That's a whole nother story for you know here in the near future. Okay, so just kind of a heads up. That's an interesting story. Um, so we're talking with my editing skills and an adult video game. I could probably make a nice coin over on Pornhub. So we're actually looking at that as well, expanding the channel over into that direction. Which before all this, Princess Fhaie and I had already been talking about it. But initially, we weren't going to link the channel to that. But the truth of it is that there's two sides to romance. So to me, it just made sense, at that point. But at the time, she was kind of talking out of her head and everything. So it was really difficult to talk to her. And we had a kind of a, so we were having problems then because of her talking out of her head over the drugs. Ah, well, it's nothing like that, bad. It's just that it went bad the other day in a live stream, and it turned nasty. So, again, we're kind of at that stage right now where we're trying to kind of prepare for her homecoming. Now, again, I want you all to remember Princess Fhaie is an amazing woman, no question about it, hands down, bar none. She's amazing. Okay, she's just sick. Chemical dependency and mental illness does not make you a bad person. Okay. I know what kind of woman she is. I know what she's like. And that is, and we've talked about it this morning, why I'm, going to the links that I'm going to. Here it is, folks. Again, it was someone who did not give up on me. And we told that story this morning. Someone did not give up on me. I fell in love with them, but before I had a chance to tell them, they passed away. So that is the situation that we're in right now. We're trying to help her, okay? So by continuing to make it difficult for her to slip through the cracks, to become that OD statistic, we're doing what it takes. Now, again, I urge all of you to continue to shout this out. I haven't heard anything since Tuesday. She's very angry because the police were involved. you know, and the police did a horrible job. Beaverton, Oregon Police Department, I now rank right up there with a police department that does not protect and serve. They do not live up to what police are supposed to do here in the United States. They failed in their job. And if anything happens to her, it's on you guys' heads. Plain and simple. Folks, she transported across state lines a prescription medication without a prescription that is considered a narcotic medication with an animal in the vehicle, a cat. So we don't even know if she was under the influence, but she probably transported the marijuana as well. She does not have a prescription for this. She's also been under the care of psychologists, okay, of a psychologist. You guys allowed this. Yeah, we'll see about getting together sometime after the stream, okay? You guys allowed this. So if anything happens to her, it's on you guys' heads. On top of that, you already know of everything I told you about her parents. She is not capable of making decisions on her own. So as it stands, if anything happens, it's you guys' fault. Beaverton, Oregon Police Department, it's you guys' fault. You are responsible if anything happens. Legit. So how far has this now reached? We now have people helping as far away now as Japan, and possibly we know that it's making its way across Europe. So we're now in Asia. How long? How long before it reaches, like Russia and the Middle East? Africa, how long before this embarrassment to that police department is worldwide? Yes, I'm an irate husband, but I have a loving wife that I'm being concerned about. It's not the sadistic, I don't care, I'm doing this for control. No, this is my wife. There are many like her, but this one is mine, and she is special. There's no one like her. And even after all this mess, if she decides that she doesn't want to be with me anymore, hates me, and all this other stuff, I will understand. But at least I know her chances of survival are better than what they are right now. It's up to us, folks. It's up to us in the community to continue to try to save my wife, Miranda. It's coming from a husband who actually does love his wife. I know it's rare nowadays. True love is hard to find nowadays. It really is. Anymore, true love is very hard to find. It's hard. But it does still exist. And it exists right here. You know what? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I know to drive from Beaverton, from here to Beaverton, Oregon, it takes about 3 days if you stop and take care of yourself. I know that now. So for my wife, we're trying to save her life. So I continue to urge all of you to continue to share this out. Tell everyone you know. Facebook, Twitter, continue to get the message out. We have to save my wife's life. She is a one of a kind, a very, very special and amazing woman. And again, we now have people in the radio industry who are now helping. By cutting her off from those that are going to hurt her and enable her, which is still hurting her, what we're actually doing is creating the environment that even the people on the street are going to say, you're too high profile, I can't do business with you. And if we could take away the drugs just long enough, she might just come to her senses, or her family will realize that it's too hot and they need to send her home. Is this horrible of me doing? It's horrible to save anybody's life by any means, and that should always be no. Saving one life, you might save thousands. Let's not forget Schindler's List. Save generation. Okay, so again, we're trying to save her. We're trying to do what we can. And again, folks, how much do I love that woman? Right here on the desk, working hard, trying to reach people and do the right thing. Right there, her wedding ring and our picture. That's how much if I didn't love her, I wouldn't be trying to, this is why I'm doing this sort of thing. That's what's going on. She is a one of a kind. There is no one out there like that woman. So right now, currently, I'm doing my best. I will also say that, I know there's some of our ladies out there, gosh, I didn't know that this love still existed. It does. It's rare nowadays. Most people don't know what it looks like anymore. They really don't. And it's kind of sad. Most people don't realize how important it is that, you know, how important it is to recognize this sort of love. And a lot of times we don't see it until it's too late. My wife deserves the absolute best. And if going live and saying, my name is Dennis Pohl, to save her life, and to say, my wife's name is Miranda Rashawn Pohl, maiden name Carter, to get her home, I will do it. And I know there's even been a few people that have even gone so far as to say, you really shouldn't do that. But the truth of it is that my wife is that important. I have to save her life by any means necessary. I never thought I would have to do this. I don't like doing this. I hate doing this. But I'm really left with no other options. We have to create that. We have to basically, we have to do what it takes. She deserves it. Maybe after this, we might start making this a thing, saving people's lives, like this. We might look at doing that. Bad, I wish we did, brother. I wish we did. So this is coming from a broken-hearted husband, but not because my wife ran off, because I failed her. It's because I did fail her. I did fail her. I failed her in a way that I should have been more vigilant. I should have paid closer attention to her mental status, but I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. I failed my wife in that regard. I failed her in a lot of other areas, but I won't fail again. She deserves the best. We have an amazing treatment center over here. We can get her cleaned up. And I know some wonderful hospitals that'll help her get straightened out, get her on the right medication, so she can live a very productive, long life. And who knows how many people that woman will help. But for right now, this is what we're stuck doing. And I don't care how many streams it takes. I don't care how long it takes me until we're successful, or God forbid, the worst. I hope not. I hope we're successful in this journey in saving her life. She deserves the best. I look at that picture and I just see that smile and it just tears me apart because I don't know what kind of danger she's in right now. Because I know my wife has an amazing talent for getting into trouble, you know. She's given me beautiful children. She's given me so much. I can't just turn my back on her. I can't. She deserves the best. So without question, I again urge everyone to continue to share this out to everyone you know. Carla, I know we've been friends for a little while now, and I apologize for not getting over to your channel more often. I think I tried to get over there, but I think I'm actually got a ban on me or something. Like you were doing this panel, and I can't get a comment out to save my life. And I think it was just someone you'd stepped away for a second, and they were really, they were really just being very protective, obviously, and thought that maybe I said something that I didn't. So I don't know what happened there. Um, and there is our dear friend Spirit Wolf. Welcome to the live stream, my friend. I've known him for a little while now. Just started a channel. If y'all get a moment, get over there and check him out. Absolutely fantastic content creator, and I love the work that he's doing. As a matter of fact, he's even been kind enough to bring me into his live streams a couple of times here in the last few days and help cheer me up. Um, so continue to get to know one another. So that's kind of where we're at on all this. If you know anybody, you can share it out. Share it out to Discord, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. The more and more we get the information out, the more and more that we, Evil cannot, darkness cannot exist where true light exists. And that is our objective. If we shine enough light on this evil situation, not saying my wife is evil, but the situation surrounding her, um, Ian's channel has gone away. His channel doesn't exist anymore, Bad Bad. I'll have to clue you in on the details. So again, um, I'm urging everyone to continue to get the word out. We've got a lot of ground to cover right now. Again, I know a lot of times we'll hear content creators get on here and they'll say, we need to share this out. And then you're sitting there, you ask them, okay, we've got to share it out. Everybody knows about it. What do you want to do? And then they're like, well, we need to make this stop. Okay, how do we do that? And then they sit there and go, they don't have a clue. I actually have a clue what to do. I know what to do. I actually know what to do. Holy shit. A content creator with his head on his shoulders. The objective right now is to get her home. Once we get her home, we can get her sober and get her in for her mental health. And then once we do all that, we can figure it out from there. Again, I'm looking at any possible avenue, obviously legally, that we could do to make enough money to supplement disability for my wife so I can stay with her if she needs 24/7 to help her by any means necessary. I will be glad to take care of her. I would love to take care of her. Y'all got to understand, she's a very, very special woman. Very lots of talent, and no question about it. I don't think I think sometimes some people slip through the cracks for how amazing they really are, and she's been showcased numerous times on this channel as being absolutely amazing. No question about it. Okay, no question about it, folks. Um, she's very talented, very knowledgeable. Um, Oftentimes, she doesn't give herself enough credit for how knowledgeable she really is. She actually, because of her work in the cosmetology industry, can tell you things about human skin that you can't even imagine. I worked in the medical field and I was learning things from her. So if that's any indication how smart she really is, okay? I worked in the field. I studied human skin, okay? Had to deal with it on a daily for 13 years. And I was learning stuff from her. Unbelievable, you know, very knowledgeable woman. Okay. She's very smart, which that just goes to show, alcoholics and addicts and those who suffer from mental illness are very smart. As a matter of fact, our dear friend Bad Bat, without question, deserves a very special interview himself for how he gets past some of his own issues. And maybe once things settle down, and maybe once I start feeling a little bit better, we might look at doing that because he deserves his own piece, really, on how amazing and special he really is. But that's another subject for another time. So without question, we're talking, my wife is, without question, one of the most amazing people I have ever met. I love her. I still find her attractive, but I want the best for her. Okay. She deserves that much, you know. And we talked about it this morning and I broke down. So I don't want to really talk about it a whole lot because I don't feel like breaking down right now. But I know a lot of you right now are going, my God, this has got to be a nightmare for you because this is your woman. This is who you fell in love with. You have so many deep feelings for her. And I'm not going to lie. I have fucked up in our marriage. I have fucked up in our marriage. Okay. Without question, I have fucked up in our marriage, but I've not fucked up so bad that I can sit back and watch her be another statistic. Okay. She means that much to me. So I continue to urge all of you to do your part, in all of this and help me. Again, if enough of this word gets out, the police will have no choice. They'll find a way to do their job through the confines of the law. Forcing them to do their job. But first things first, we got a lot of ground to cover. So we're back to doing whatever is necessary. Doing whatever is necessary. So I love my wife, no question about it. But we got a lot of ground to cover. I haven't given up on you, honey. Miranda, I haven't given up on you. I have not given up on you. I still love you, no matter how far you feel you got to sink down in this. I have not given up hope. You are still my everything, and I still love you. I will do whatever it takes to save your life because you deserve the best. Even if after all of this you decide that you don't want to be a part of my life, I will completely understand. But at least I know that you'll be okay. I will be there with you through thick and thin and hell and high water because you deserve that much. You will always, even if I know I'm always going to be that human being that will occasionally fail you, but I will still always continue to give you my best from beginning to end because you are amazing. You are that special. The power of a husband's love does not end just because his wife gets sick. If anything, it should grow stronger. So that's why I'm doing this. So Miranda, if you're watching, I haven't given up on you. And if her family's watching, the heat is on. Give me my wife back. And let me fix her. You guys have done enough damage for one lifetime. And I know I've failed in many ways as a husband. But at least I didn't sexually assault her at the age of 14. Sorry, I get very emotional about this. And I think many of you can understand that. Actually, I know all of you can understand that and appreciate it. How many husbands out there get it? How many husbands out there understand right now what I'm going through? Or at least would be like, I would be doing the same exact thing as you right now. Because she deserves it. I haven't given up. Miranda, if you're watching, Dennis hasn't given up on you, baby. I'm still here for you. Front door's still open. That is the power of love. We're getting close to that time where we need to wind down the stream. I've got a lot of work to do, a lot of folks to talk to. I urge all of you to continue to do what you're doing. Get the information out. Don't stop getting the information out. Keep sharing it out. We have to save my wife. She deserves it. She deserves it. She deserves the absolute best. Spirit Wolf. Not my style. Despite popular belief on a character I play. Spirit Wolf, I love my wife. I will be honest with you. There used to be a time that dear old Prince Magnum was a womanizer. I openly admit that. On one hand, it's noteworthy because the way I womanized was with a little bit of flair and class. Nowadays, most guys can't do the flair and class like I do, but doesn't mean it was right. It doesn't mean it was right. Thank you for saying that and getting me to come around to that, okay? It doesn't mean it was right, okay? And, that sort of thing. And I'll tell y'all, I used to, you guys have heard me make the joke. I have 5 kids, excuse me, that I know of. Truth of it is, the reason why those are the ones I only know of because I used to be a womanizer. That doesn't mean it was right, though. It is what it is. I used to be a womanizer. I did it with a little bit of flair and class, a little flash. Hell, I just watched something on the plane ride from hell and come to find out there was more than one of those. For those who are familiar with old school wrestling, I was blown away. I'm like, gee, man, Nitley, dude. And then now they're blasting old Ric Flair. I'm like, wow. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, I'd always heard good things about the guy, and then now he's got this on his head. I'm like, motherfucker, dude. You rethink your life choices. But it's came and went. There's nothing we could do. And that's kind of where, some of the things that I've done in the past, okay? Some of the things I've done in the past, it's like rethink your life choices. It's already came and went. I can only learn from it, you know. I'm not going to deny I fucked up in my marriage. I can only look back and try to learn from it, and do better in the future. And hopefully be doing it for Princess Fhaie because it's who I want to do it for. She deserves it. So that's kind of where, even today, it's like, if anything, the biggest mistake I made in all of this is I did not pay close enough attention to my wife, to all the mental problems. I didn't realize that the drug addiction, the alcoholism, and the depression had reached epidemic, this type of proportion. I did not realize it. Somewhere in my head, I was convincing myself she was going to be okay. I seen all the warning signs, but I had turned a blind eye to it, thinking that she was going to be okay. Even after the meltdown that she'd had a few days prior to the start of all of this, I turned a blind eye to it, thinking that she was going to be okay. Of course, she led on pretty well. She had me convinced. And I should know what that shit looks like, but it didn't. I wanted to believe she was okay. Even in the middle of that stream, I was even being cutesy with her. Everything seemed fine. And then she walks out the door. Not a joke. She would come up, say something to me, and I would boop her on the nose and say, I love you, honey. I would give her a kiss, telling her, she's asking, how's the stream going? Oh, it's going great. I love you, baby. I wish you were able to join us. Stuff like that. Because she didn't feel like it. Or that's what she told us. Come find out she's loading up the car to make a mad dash in basically her drunken, freaking drug-induced manic state. I didn't know. I thought everything was fine. But here we are. So we're trying to get enough heat going. And what am I talking about? Heat. Okay. And let me kind of dive into that for just a brief second. When we're talking about raising enough heat to bring enough tension to the situation, what we're actually talking about is we're trying to push the authorities in the right direction. So they'll start applying the pressure to her family. They start having difficulty at their job and they realize that they can't keep her there. And then you make it difficult for her to get the street drugs. And even if it is legal, the dispensaries won't touch her because it's too hot. So now it becomes difficult for her. It becomes difficult for the family to do business like that. So that's kind of where we're at on all of this. Basically creating an aura where we cut her off from the drugs and she has no choice but to come to her senses. Okay? That's the main objective. Getting her to come to her senses long enough to get her home. Okay? Now, does that mean that we're not looking into other options? Of course we are. I've got a friend that as soon as she gets squared away just enough where we could talk, There may even have to be where the mental health may actually have to step in with kind of like almost similar to like a court order sort of thing that could lead up to a court order. So we're kind of crossing that bridge too. So we're already looking at other avenues besides what we're already doing. So, but it does. That's why she'll need the treatment center, bad, bad. That's why she'll need the treatment center. So we're taking this as far as we possibly can to a level of holy shit. Basically, the more and more we create that aura of you can't live like this, you deserve more, and basically putting the heat to the fire and everything, and then people knowing what they need to know, and basically making a mockery of a police agency, then put it in the, it's going to get difficult. And right now, the worst thing that the worst thing that we got to do in this case is wait. And I hate waiting. I'm really not that good at it, folks. But I have to be patient and I have to keep praying and I have to keep doing what we've been doing since Tuesday. What's going on, Zero? Um, so that's kind of the situation. We're just waiting right now. It's the waiting game, but I continue to urge all of you to continue to share this out. Okay? That is where we're at. Continue to share this out, get the information out. Do not stop. Okay? By you guys doing what you're doing, we can make a difference. We could save Princess Fhaie's life. She deserves it. Um, without question. So as we begin to wind down the stream, I I'm awfully tired. Thank you. Bless this crazy mess. I hope you've been able to keep up with everything that we've been talking about since Tuesday, what we're dealing with. And again, I continue to urge you to share this out to everyone you know. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. If it's a platform that you're on, share it out. Especially since that 1K1 up to today, including, I would definitely suggest including last night's Sober Talk, because we really talk about mental illness and mental awareness and chemical dependency as well last night. We really dove into it for the first time on this channel in live stream. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Zero. I haven't really been on Discord all that much. It's been very difficult for me today because I'm also dealing with the death of my grandmother on top of this as well. But I know Grandma would tell me, don't worry about me. Worry about your wife. Take care of your wife first. That's what my grandmother would tell me right now. So Grandma, wherever you're at, I know you'd be telling me, get my wife home, get her well, make sure she's safe. Take care of that woman. You didn't just put that ring on for nothing. Okay? Yep, absolutely. What's going on, Simon? Welcome to the live stream. So that's what my grandmother would say right now. She would tell me to get out there and do what I had to get her home, to get her safe. Both of my grandmothers would say that. Say, do you still love that woman? Yes. Then you do what it takes to save her life. Don't get into trouble, though. That's what they would tell me. Because if you get into trouble, then nobody can help her. That's what they would tell me. So continue to share the streams out. Get everyone on board. Share it out to every last person you can think of, and then some. The more and more people we get on board, the more and more it's going to be difficult for the evil to exist in the light. So I'm awfully tired. This takes a lot out of me to come on here and share this sort of pain with you guys, because I'm in a lot of pain, worrying about my wife. I'm scared for her. I do love her. I don't want her to get hurt. And I'm doing my best on that. Thank you. So I know a lot of you would like to see me get back on to save the world, but I can't do it just yet. Thank you, Chairman, for being here. And I know some of you want me to get over to Discord and talk a little bit more. I'm doing the best I can right now. I'm awfully tired and I'm wore out, but I'm hanging in there. They're not with me. That's a whole nother subject. Subject that I'm really not comfortable talking about right now, but they're not here. Thankfully, they don't have to see this. Right now, it's just a question of when we get to that point. If we can get to that point where we can get her home, get her well, and get her safe. But I'm awfully tired. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Zero. And thank you all for continuing to help. There's a lot of you folks around the world right now that continue to help me do this job of getting my wife home. We have folks now from the UK all the way to Japan doing this. Don't stop doing this. Keep helping. I need you guys' help. Sometimes it takes a community to help someone. And we have a very powerful community right here at our fingertips. So as we begin to let out for the stream for the night, I want to remind you all, if you have that someone special at home right now, thank you. If you have that someone special at home right now, don't take anything for granted. Pay close attention to them. Because about the first time that you don't, thank you, sir. About the first time that you turn a blind eye might be the time that they may not make it back. So now that I've said that, especially to you, my lovely wife, Miranda, if no one has told any of you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.